Be merciful just as God is. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell y'all something real quick. Life is hard. You hear me? It's got twists, turns, ups, downs, and sometimes it feels like you're on a roller coaster with no seatbelt. And in the middle of all that chaos, people will test you. They'll lie on you, betray you, take from you, and then look at you like it. The problem in our life is full of challenges, and no matter who you are, you're going to face some tough situations. People will test your patience, your kindness, and your ability to forgive. That's just a fact. You can be the nicest, most generous person in the world, and guess what? Somebody is still going to cross you. Somebody is still going to do you wrong. It might be a friend, a family member, co-worker, or even somebody you barely know, but sooner or later you're going to run into somebody who makes you question everything about human nature. It's funny how life works sometimes. You could spend years helping people, looking out for them, being there whenever they needed you, and the moment you need something, silence. No callbacks, no text, just an empty space where you thought support would be. Or maybe you trusted somebody, gave them a piece of your heart, shared your dreams with them, and then they turned around and used it against you. That kind of pain cuts deep. It makes you want to shut down, build walls, and never let anybody get close again. Then there are the people who judge you unfairly. You ever had someone assume the worst about you without even knowing the whole story? Oh, that's frustrating. They take one mistake, one moment, and turn it into a whole identity. They don't care about your intentions, don't care about what you've been through, don't care about the pressure you were under. They just label you and move on like you're nothing more than the worst thing you've ever done. And let's not even start on the people who take advantage of kindness. You lend them money and suddenly they got amnesia when it's time to pay you back. You go out of your way to help and they act like it was nothing. You sacrifice your time, your energy, your resources, and the second you say no for once, now you're the bad guy. It's crazy how fast people forget what you did for them. But here's the truth, people will always test you. It doesn't matter how much good you do, how much love you give, or how much effort you put in. Somebody out there is still going to take you for granted, still going to disappoint you, still going to make you wonder why you even bother. That's just life. And when it happens, it's easy to let bitterness take over. It's easy to start treating people how they treated you. You start thinking, why should I keep giving when nobody gives back? Why should I keep being good when people only take advantage of it? It's a real struggle because when you've been hurt, your natural reaction is to protect yourself. You don't want to be the fool. You don't want to keep getting used, keep getting walked over, keep getting let down. So you start putting up walls, keeping people at a distance, making sure nobody can hurt you again. It's a survival instinct, and honestly, it makes sense. Everybody makes mistakes. That's just the truth. Nobody walking this earth has lived a perfect life, no matter how put together they might look on the outside. People love to act like they've always done the right thing, always made the best decisions, always been in control. But deep down, we all know that's not true. We've all had moments where we messed up, where we went left when we should have gone right, where we hurt someone, made a bad call, or did something we're not proud of. It happens. It's part of being human. Now, imagine if every time you made a mistake, God just threw you away. Imagine if he gave up on you the moment you got it wrong. That wouldn't leave a single one of us standing. See, people like to talk about justice, about giving folks what they deserve, but the truth is, if we all got what we deserve, we wouldn't have half the blessings we do. We've all had times when we should have faced worse consequences, times when we should have lost something for good, times when we should have been counted out, but God didn't do that. He gave us another chance. He gave us grace. Think about all the times you asked for forgiveness. Maybe you let someone down, maybe you broke a promise, maybe you did something out of anger that you didn't mean. In those moments you wanted mercy, you wanted someone to see your heart, not just your mistake. You wanted to be understood, not judged. You wanted a second chance. And if God can look at your life, knowing every flaw, every failure, every bad decision, and still say, I'm not done with you, then who are we to act like we can't extend that same mercy to others? Some of us have done things we don't even talk about. Maybe it was years ago, maybe it was recent, but we carry guilt over the times we messed up. But even in those moments when we felt unworthy, when we felt ashamed, when we felt like we didn't deserve to be loved, God still had his hand on us, He still woke us up in the morning, still gave us opportunities, still put people in our lives who cared about us. That wasn't luck. That wasn't because we did everything right. That was mercy. That was grace. The truth is, God's love isn't based on perfection. He doesn't bless you because you never mess up. He blesses you because he sees your heart. He knows your struggles. He knows that even when you fail, you're still trying. And no matter how many times you fall, he still sees you as worthy of love, worthy of redemption, worthy of another chance. If he gave up on us every time we fell short, there wouldn't be any hope. But instead of turning his back on us, he keeps giving us grace over and over again. That mercy isn't about what someone else deserves. It's about who you are. A lot of people get caught up in keeping score, making sure everything is fair, making sure that if someone wrongs them, they get what's coming to them. It's human nature to want justice, to want people to feel the pain they cause you, to make sure they don't get away with it. But the truth is, holding on to that kind of thinking does more harm to you than it ever does to them. You can spend your whole life waiting for someone to pay for what they did to you, but in the meantime, you're the one carrying the weight of that pain. You're the one losing sleep over it. You're the one wasting energy thinking about how unfair it was, how they don't deserve kindness, how you'll never let yourself be fooled again. And while you're holding on to all of that, they might not even be thinking about it. They're out there living their life while you're stuck carrying something that's only dragging you down. That's why mercy is so powerful. It's not just about freeing them, it's about freeing you. There's something about showing mercy that requires real strength. Anybody can hold a grudge. Anybody can be angry. Anybody can seek revenge. That's easy. What's hard is looking at someone who hurt you and saying, I'm not going to let what you did change who I am. That's power. That's grace. That's what separates people who live in peace from people who stay trapped in bitterness. Think about how many times you've needed someone to understand you instead of judge you. How many times you've needed someone to give you the benefit of the doubt instead of assuming the worst. How many times you've wished someone would see your heart instead of just your mistakes. We all want that. We all want to be seen for more than our worst moments. And if we expect that for ourselves, we have to be willing to give that to others. Mercy doesn't mean you forget what happened. It doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. It doesn't mean you don't set boundaries or protect yourself from toxic situations. What it does mean is that you don't let what happened make you bitter. It means you don't allow someone else's actions to turn you into something you're not. You stay kind, you stay compassionate, you stay true to who you are not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. People will disappoint you, they will fail you, they will let you down. But when you choose mercy, you're choosing to let go of the need to punish, to get even, to make them feel the way you felt. You're choosing to be bigger than the situation, to rise above it, to move forward without carrying the weight of resentment. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. That's strength. That's real freedom. We all need forgiveness at some point. No matter how good you try to be, no matter how careful you are, you're going to mess up. You're going to say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, or hurt somebody even if you didn't mean to. That's just life. We're human, and humans aren't perfect. The problem is a lot of people walk around acting like they've never needed grace, like they've never made a mistake, like they've never been in a situation where they wish somebody would just understand instead of judge. But if we're being honest, we've all been there. Think about a time in your life when you knew you messed up. Maybe it was something small, maybe it was something big, but you felt that weight in your chest. You knew you should have handled it differently. You knew you should have made a better choice. And in that moment, all you wanted was for someone to see your heart. You wanted someone to give you another chance, to understand that your mistake wasn't the full picture of who you are. That's what forgiveness does. It gives people the space to be human, the space to grow, the space to make things right. But here's the thing, if we expect forgiveness for ourselves, we have to be willing to give it to others. It's easy to want mercy when we're the ones who messed up. But it's harder to give that same mercy when else is the one who did us wrong. It feels unfair. It feels like they should have to make it up to us, like they should feel the same pain we felt. But holding on to that only keeps us stuck. It doesn't make anything better. It doesn't erase what happened. It just keeps us trapped in the past, reliving the hurt over and over again. Forgiveness doesn't mean you're saying what they did was okay. It doesn't mean you're excusing their actions. It just means you're choosing not to let their mistake control your peace. You're choosing to let go of the anger, the resentment, the need for revenge. And that's not for them, that's for you, because carrying that weight around doesn't hurt them. It only drains you. It keeps you from moving forward, keeps you from experiencing joy, keeps you from being fully present in your own life. At some point, everybody's going to find themselves in a position where they need to be forgiven. Nobody gets through life without making mistakes. Nobody gets through life without hurting somebody. And when that moment comes, you're going to want the same grace that you've struggled to give. You're going to want someone to see your heart instead of just your mistake. That's why forgiveness is so important, because we all fall short. We all need second chances. We all need to be seen as more than our worst moments. And the same way we hope for that, when we mess up, we have to be willing to give it when someone else does that. God blesses people who don't deserve it, including you. That's something a lot of people don't like to admit. It's easy to look at somebody else's life and think, why do they have that? They don't deserve it. They've made so many mistakes. They've done so much wrong. But if we're being real, if we took a good, hard look at our own lives, we'd have to admit that we've been blessed far beyond what we deserve too. Think about all the times you didn't get the punishment you should have gotten. The times you made a bad decision and somehow things still worked out for you. The times you knew you didn't deserve another chance, but God gave you one anyway. That wasn't luck. That wasn't because you earned it. That was grace. That was mercy. That was God looking at you, knowing your flaws, knowing your mistakes, and still deciding to bless you. People love to talk about fairness, but if life was truly fair, none of us would be where we are right now. If life was fair, every single mistake we made would have come back on us in full force. If life was fair, we wouldn't have had the opportunities we've had, the second chances we've been given, or the doors that have opened for us despite our past. God's blessings aren't based on perfection. They're based on His love, His mercy, and His plan. Sometimes we look at our own lives and think we've earned everything we have. We get caught up in our own hard work, our own sacrifices, and our own efforts, and we start to believe that we made it all happen on our own. But if you really think about it, you'll realize that there were moments when you should have failed, when you should have lost, when things should have fallen apart, but somehow, some way, you made it through. That wasn't just you. That was God stepping in, making a way, giving you grace even when you didn't realize it. And if God can bless you despite your mistakes, despite your failures, despite the times you got it wrong, then what makes you think He won't do the same for somebody else? Too often, people want to play judge and jury over other people's lives. They want to decide who's worthy and who's not. They want to say who should be forgiven and who shouldn't, who should get a second chance and who should stay down. But that's not our job. That's God's job. And if He's in the business of blessing people who don't deserve it, then we need to stop acting like we're any different. Nobody walking this earth is perfect. Nobody has lived a flawless life. We've all needed grace. We've all needed forgiveness. We've all been blessed in moments when we didn't deserve it. And the truth is, God isn't blessing people because they're perfect. He's blessing them because He is good, because He is merciful, because that's who He is.be merciful, just like God is. That's easier said than done, isn't it? When someone hurts you, betrays you, disrespects you, the natural reaction is to shut down, get even, or cut them off. It's a defense mechanism. Nobody wants to be played for a fool. Nobody wants to feel like they're letting people walk all over them. And if you've been through enough in life, it's easy to convince yourself that showing mercy makes you weak. But the truth is, it takes real strength to be merciful. It takes real character to show grace when you have every reason not to. God shows us mercy every single day. He sees everything we do, every mistake we make, every flaw we try to hide, and still He keeps loving us. He keeps waking us up in the morning, keeps giving us new opportunities, keeps blessing us even when we don't deserve it. If God was in the business of giving up on people, none of us would be here. If He treated us the way we sometimes treat others, we'd have no hope. But He doesn't. He keeps forgiving, keeps showing kindness, keeps giving second chances. And if we say we want to live right, if we say we want to be more like Him, then that means we have to follow His example. Mercy isn't about letting people get away with things. It's not about pretending something didn't happen or allowing yourself to be mistreated. It's about choosing to rise above. It's about refusing to let bitterness and anger control you. When you hold on to resentment, when you walk around with unforgiveness in your heart, you're the one carrying the burden. You're the one losing peace. You're the one stuck in a cycle that keeps you from moving forward. Mercy sets you free. Think about a time when you needed mercy. Maybe you made a bad choice. Maybe you said something you regretted, made you hurt someone without meaning to. In that moment, you didn't want to be judged. You didn't want to be condemned. You wanted to be understood. You wanted to be given a chance to do better. We all want that. And if we want mercy for ourselves, we have to be willing to give it to others. We can't ask God to forgive us and then turn around and refuse to forgive somebody else. That's not how it works. Some of the most peaceful, joyful people in the world are the ones who have learned to let things go. They don't hold on to every offense. They don't spend their lives trying to get revenge. They don't waste energy on grudges. They understand that life is too short to live in anger. They know that giving mercy isn't about the other person, it's about keeping their own heart free. They know that just as God continues to give them grace, they should extend that same grace to others. And when you do that, when you choose mercy, you walk lighter, you live better, and you open yourself up to receive even more of God's blessings. Thanks for watching.